The morning sun bathed Nyandiko Square in golden light as villagers gathered around the raised platform. Elder Otieno, leaning on his carved staff, announced the challenge. The village girls have proven their wit and strength. Today, a challenger must face their trials and overcome them all by sunset. A murmur swept through the crowd until Akeno stepped forward, his calm demeanor silencing the chatter. "I accept," he said, his voice steady. The girls exchanged knowing smiles, ready to test him. The villagers buzzed with excitement as the elders blessed the event. The stage was set for a day of wisdom and wit. Amara, the master weaver, stood beneath the shade of a giant baobab, holding a tangled basket resembling a bird's nest. "Untangle this before the sun shifts a hand's breadth," she challenged. Akeno knelt, examining the knots. Instead of pulling forcefully, he gently worked each strand, his hands moving with practiced patience. Villagers gathered, whispering as they watched him unravel the basket. Time seemed to slow, and just as the shadow lengthened, Akeno stood, holding the untangled creation. "You've shown the patience of a true artisan," Amara said, bowing in respect. The first challenge was complete, and Akeno smiled humbly. Zuba, her voice as clear as a morning bird, stepped forward. "Sing a song that makes us laugh and cry," she said, tilting her head. Akeno nodded, thought briefly, and began to sing. A serpent stole eggs from a mother bird, yet returned them when it found none of its own. His voice wove the tale with humor and heartache, the melody echoing through the village square. Laughter and tears filled the air as his story touched everyone's soul. "You've mastered the balance of joy and sorrow," Zuba admitted, her eyes glistening. Akeno had triumphed once more. Naima, the swiftest runner in Nyandiko, crouched at the starting line, a sly grin on her face. "Catch me if you can," she said as the race began. Akeno trailed behind, observing the terrain and the strong eastward wind. Nearing the finish line, he tied his cloak to a tree, letting it billow ahead as though he had passed. Naima slowed, confused by the sight, and in that moment, Akeno dashed past her, crossing the line first. "You've beaten me with strategy, not speed," Naima laughed. The villagers cheered, amazed at his cleverness. As the sun dipped low, Akili led all the village girls to form a circle. Each held a piece of wood. "Light a flame from our efforts combined," she said. Akeno directed them to stack the wood carefully and shield the flame from the evening breeze. With everyone working together, the spark grew into a steady fire. Its warmth illuminated their faces, reflecting unity and understanding. "You've shown us the power of collaboration," Akili said, her voice filled with newfound respect. The girls cheered, their rivalry replaced with admiration for Akeno's wisdom. The village burst into celebration under the starry sky. Women carried steaming pots of rice, meat, and vegetables to the square. Men played drums, their rhythms echoing through the night, while children laughed and chased one another. Akenu, crowned Omwonyo, sat at the center of the festivities, his face glowing with humility. People approached him with gratitude, offering small tokens of appreciation. He thanked each one, reminding them, this day was a lesson for us all. The sound of drums and laughter filled the air, marking a night that would be remembered for generations. Stepping away from the lively feast, Akeno wandered to the riverbank. The moonlit water shimmered like a silver ribbon, and the distant hum of drums blended with the soft rustle of reeds. Sitting on a smooth rock, Akeno gazed at the stars. He replayed the day's challenges, each one teaching him something new about patience, unity, and perspective. Wisdom is not in conquering, but in connecting, he murmured to himself. The quiet moment grounded him, preparing him for the responsibilities that came with his new title. He smiled, knowing he had much more to learn. At dawn, the elders summoned Akeno under the Baobab tree. Birds chirped above as they offered him advice. "You've proven yourself worthy, but wisdom is a lifelong journey," Elder Otieno said. Another elder added, "Guide others as you have guided yourself, with humility and respect." Akeno listened intently, their words sinking deep. The elders passed him the staff of wisdom, a symbol of leadership. The villagers watched from afar, proud to see their young teacher stepping into a role of greater responsibility. The baobab's branches swayed gently, as if blessing the moment. Later, the village girls gathered by the river to discuss the day's events. Akili stood, her voice firm. "Akeno taught us a lesson far greater than any test. We are strongest together. Let us carry this lesson forward." The girls vowed to collaborate and teach others the value of unity. Each pledged to share their skills, from weaving to singing, with the next generation. The sun rose higher, casting its golden light over their determined faces. The rivalry that had defined them was replaced with camaraderie, creating a stronger bond among them. Years later, children sat in a circle around the fire, their faces illuminated by its flickering glow. An elder, now with silvered hair, recounted Akeno's tale. "The kind teacher showed us that wisdom is not about outsmarting others, but uplifting them," the elder said. The children leaned in, wide-eyed, imagining Akeno untangling baskets, singing songs, and lighting fires. The story became a treasured part of Nyandiko's heritage, inspiring generations to value humility, collaboration, and learning. As the fire crackled,